Hey, it's Azrielle Lawless here. And once again, you've dropped yourself straight into Hella Vella and you found yourself another Lawless interview. I'm here today with Heather Hein, and she is going to tell us about her awesome Vellas that she writes. I can't wait to hear about them. I know you're going to be pretty stoked also. The titles of the Vellas that she writes are Santa Claus, and that's with a clause, Claws, and Gladys the Vampire. Yes, Gladys the Vampire. Doesn't that sound intriguing? And then Devil May Care. So I want to hear about all of these. I want to hear about you. Yeah, this is just going to be great. I can't wait. Okay. All right. First question. Always the first question. My dear, when did you get started writing?
I know everybody always says, "Oh, I've always been writing ever since I was a child." And yes, that's true. But
I use the
what
ashes in
inspired
the
me,
fireplace with my own tears.
what inspired me to really get into this is I asked my husband one year, "What do you want for your birthday?" And he said, "I don't want presents anymore. I want short stories." So I was like, okay. And I had remarked to him a long time ago, like, someday I'm going to be sitting here in the Home Depot parking lot waiting for you, and you're going to come back out, and I'm going to be nothing but a powdery corpse. So I took that idea and I wrote a short horror story about like this couple going on a weekend vacation. He goes into Home Depot to grab one thing, and then he starts to go down the aisles, and aisle 16 keeps popping up, but it's something different each time. And then it's rusty chains, and then it's dirty medical instruments, and then it's hanging body parts. Creatures come out of the garden department and chase him around the store. And when he comes back to the car, it's been 50 years and his wife is a powdery corpse. So I wrote it, and he liked it so much, he told me I should submit it to something. And so I did. And I got my first short story that I ever wrote published. So
No way, no way.
yeah, so that was pretty inspiring. And
When was this? So if it wasn't when you were 5 years old, when was it?
it was in 2018.
Okay, so not that long ago, right?
Yeah.
Wow. So that must have been exciting. Where did you get it published?
Called the Tulip Tree Press. It's out of Colorado Springs, and it was their new writers edition. So
That is really cool. I love it. It sounds like a great story too.
it
Uh,
was a lot of fun to write.
now why did he think that you could supply him with short stories like Scheherazade? Hmm?
I've just I've always had this weird, crazy imagination, and I do read a lot and a lot of horror. And I just came coming up with all these ideas, and finally he's like, "You really should like pursue this." So I took some more writing classes, and I was like, "Okay, now I'm ready to go. Now I'm going to do this."
I think that's fantastic. Well, tell me about the writing classes. What did you do? What did you seek out to
I just took some continuing education classes at my local college. I did a lot of English classes in my regular undergrad studies, but I could never figure out how to get a story from here's my idea, I've got a great beginning. How do I finish it? So I took classes on story structure and fiction writing. And then since then, I've written 4 novels, and 2 of them are polished, and I'm trying to find representation for those. And the other 2 are in various stages of infancy, so they still need a little work,
are
quite a
they
bit of work.
are they available in ebook or
They are not. I'm looking for representation from an agent, so I'm hoping to go the traditional publishing route with my novels. Um, but the Velo stories that I've written are super fun, and I'm not positive a publisher would take them seriously, although I have read some insanely unique published books. So I figure there's hope for all of us.
yes, yes. Most definitely. And I wouldn't want to be on the side of the traditional publishers right now. They got to feel like they're out on a raft in the middle of the ocean and they can't see land anywhere because of digital publishing. And yeah, so but I think that's awesome. I read a lot of traditionally published books. So I'm a fan. I'll be reading you when you're all traditionally published as
Nice.
well. So, okay. So, but let's hear about when did you hear about Vella and how did you hear about Vella? Are you a KDP user or not?
I am not. I typically don't read online at all. I heard about Kindle Vella in November, and I was intrigued, and I was like, well, maybe I'll just try this and just see what happens. So I had a short story that I wrote for my daughter for Christmas. She's kind of dark and gothic. So it's a horror story that I wrote her for Christmas. And I polished it and I was like, okay, I'm going to just put this short story on Kindle Vella. So I broke it into 9 episodes and I put it out there. And without really doing much, I was shocked at like that it was read and that people actually paid me to read my scribblings. So I worked on another idea, and that would be Gladys. And on April 9th, I launched Gladys the Vampire series, and it did really well.
Now, so tell me, back up now. Santa Claus is going to be a slasher, a Christmas slasher, right?
Well, so there's a little girl, and she's curious. She's not positive if Santa's real or not. And so she makes up her mind that she's going to find out. So she listens on Christmas Eve and she hears him out there. And then she hears footsteps going upstairs to her parents' room. And she was like, I knew it. I knew it was them all along. And they've been buying themselves presents. And that's just sick. So she goes up there to confront them. And this tall, lanky, horrifying Santa figure is like draining blood from her parents. So she then makes up her mind that the next year she's going to catch him in the act and put an end to all of this.
All right. So do the parents wake up all weird and stuff?
No, not at all.
Trying to recover their 4 pints that they lost overnight to Santa Claus?
No, but we do find out where Santa's elves really do come from.
His bunghole? Where do they come from?
Naughty little boys and girls who try to catch Santa.
That's creepy, man. I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, oh my God. What is the name of that movie? Cirque du Horror or something. Oh my God. They've got the vampires and the vampanese.
I've not heard of that.
It's not familiar to you. Oh my God, there's this awesome movie. It's like Cirque du Horror, or I can't remember. Oh my God, I love weird, creepy horror like that. Okay. And there's one about vampires, but they're different than the traditional vampires. They don't bite people, they claw them and whatnot. But anyway, and then there's the evil vampires. And it's this whole thing. Never mind. What am I talking about? I'm here to talk to you. Oh my God. Well, you got me talking about weird horror. So, okay. Gladys the Vampire. Now, what's that going on? What's going on there?
I wanted to write a story about a senior citizen vampire who was changed against her will. And she's got bad knees and thin hair and she's overweight. And the nice thing is it's never going to get worse, but it's also never going to get better.
Ooh.
So then she finds 2 other people that are older and just they're not sparkly. They're not sexy. They're not anything like that. So it's the anti-Twilight. And then, so they all work night jobs, obviously, because she can't be running around in the day. And she discovers one of the orderlies at the nursing home where she works clamped onto a patient, and it's 19-year-old clueless Ethan. So she drags him into a closet and says, look, you can't be out like that. We can't have you doing this. So she's faced with the choice of like bringing him into the fold, even though he's completely clueless and annoying, or letting him expose their world. So they want to live under the radar. They want to be unnoticed. And so they have a support group that's actually for people with XP, which is like the sunlight allergy. So that gives them a reason to meet at night. It's not really an XP support group. So they have their support group and it's run AA style, and they have to get up and say, well, it's been this long since I last took blood from a human. And she blackmails the local coroner into giving them blood from freshly dead people because she discovers he's also a vampire. So she kind of extorts him and he extorts her back. So they get just enough blood to satisfy their bloodlust without having to go after, humanity. And then they all discover that they were turned by the same woman and for the same reason, and that is poor customer service.
I love this. I absolutely love this. So do you have a town that you set this in? Is this
Iowa City, actually, because why shouldn't vampires be running amok in Iowa City?
There's no reason not. I mean, I could see that could be an issue, because why not?
Yeah.
There's poor customer service everywhere.
There is, yes.
And if you get a Midwestern woman who wants to have her due and get what she's paying for, well, I'll tell you what, you're gonna have one angry old cow on your hands for poor customer service. So yeah, Iowa City, that's great. And
so Ethan gets tired of them living the way they live, and he keeps badgering the old people. He's like, why don't we make a change? Why don't we go after this woman? And they're like, have you looked at us? Like, so then they have to decide.
That's pretty cool. So I noticed a lot of stuff in here while you were talking about your vampires. All right. And it's not that they're not sparkly, because I never thought vampires should sparkle. And I am not going to say anything bad about the sparkly vampires, because the audience that it was written to, its demographic, loved it. And why should I stomp on that? Because it wasn't my bag doesn't mean it didn't have its day, and it wasn't important to a lot of people, during adolescence, because that's a very impressionable time. So I'm not going to say anything about that.
Those books may or may not be up there in the shame book pile.
Yeah. I don't think there's any shame in it. And I think the writing was probably better than the movie. I don't know, but I don't know that because I haven't read it. And but anywho, I noticed that your vampires, so they don't get healed up. Nothing heals up, right?
Well, they just are arrested at the very time that they were changed. That's how they are. Nothing changes.
Right.
So if your knees were bad before, they're going to stay bad now.
They still feel pain. They're still creaking around. That sucks. I would be so pissed off. What kind of superpowers do they have?
Pretty much the typical vampire superpowers. They can't walk around in the day. But so they're always prepared with, raincoats.
I mean, something they can do, not some, prohibition.
Pretty much everything that regular vampires do, they can do. They just choose not to. Ethan does have some misconceptions, so he thinks that they can turn into bats, and Gladys has to remind him that, it's not everything you see in the movies. We can't turn into bats, but they are very fast. They're very strong, and when provoked, they can levitate and get pretty angry. In fact, Karen is this very mild-mannered woman who wears twin set sweaters, but don't piss Karen off because she will rip your throat out.
Nicely done, author. Very nicely done on that one. I like that. Well, God, that's really cool. I think that's awesome. I'm gonna have to read that. But they do have to stay out of the sun, right?
They have to follow, those conditions, and they do yearn and hunger for human blood, but just a 1 ounce shooter bottle is enough to keep them from eating people for a day. But as Ethan is learning, he makes many mistakes, including the neighbor's cat, which he's very sorry about.
Yes.
Oh
my gosh. So do any of them die?
I can't possibly answer that question, not give away the ending.
Can you then say what is the true death? What brings it? A stake through the heart, or just like a bullet through the head? Anything would do it? Or are we looking at old rules? And that's
old rules. Stake through the heart would do it. UV light would do it. Cutting off someone's head, well, that would kill just about anybody. So yes, that would do it.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy water would do it. So
Okay.
their method
Old school
is
rules. Nosferatu.
loose. Yes.
Okay. 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 I got it. So that is wonderful. And I can't wait to read that. That one's going to be good. And you say have you done well with it?
Yes. It's really picked up momentum in the last couple of months. Each month seems to be better than the last. And
You're going to catch Halloween this year.
Pardon?
I said you're going to catch Halloween this year.
Oh, yes, yes.
And that's going to be exciting for Gladys the Vampire, Devil May Care, and Santa Claus.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. But yeah, every month has just gotten more incredible, and it's complete now. It's got 43 episodes. So yeah, it's been a really fun ride. I really enjoyed writing those characters and getting to know them. It was fun.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding. Okay, so Devil May Care, that's the last one. And give me a sense of when you uploaded this. Like
this is brand new. So this started last month, and it's got 6 episodes online so far. And basically, Bubba, Beelzebub, is a sub-devil who is in danger of losing his job because of low recruitment. And Lucy, Lucifer, and Santana, Satan, are both above him, although as the legend goes, they used to be all at the same rank, but he somehow is now number 3, and he resents it, and he's petulant about it. So he makes a deal with Lucy: if I can convert the least likely goodest person from purgatory to our side, then can I keep my job? And she was like, okay, yeah, let's do this. But the underworld is an awful lot like an office set in hell. So people have their places where they work, and he visits a few of his coworkers along the way. The River Styx is there, and part of the torture of the River Styx is that Come Sail Away plays overhead on repeat, but the speakers are crackled, so you can't exactly hear all of it, kind of like the Walgreens hold music, which to me is torture.
Woo! You sure know hell, I tell you.
Yeah, and then there's a grotto that plays Don't Fear the Reaper, but it isn't just more cowbell, it's all cowbell all the time, because the mixer has been pushed too far, so you can barely catch the audio. And so it's just mostly cowbell. So yeah.
But somehow you know it's Don't Fear the Reaper.
Right. Yeah. You can barely hear that audio or that vocal track.
Okay, so they're all down there, and he's got to get to purgatory. So this is another realm. So this is sort of working on layers of reality, right?
Yes. So there's the earthly realm, and then there's hell. I imagine heaven's around in there somewhere, but we really don't talk much about heaven so far. It may come up later. And purgatory, it's interesting because in this world, what you do in your living life is not as important as how you face your death and what you do during your time in purgatory. So that's where it really matters what you do. So
very Catholic. This is very Catholic.
Which is funny because I'm not Catholic or anything at all. So I have had to do a lot of research, and my Google search history right now is whacked.
Oh my God. Well, see, this is very Catholic. All right. Purgatory is a Catholic concept, as you probably know from your research. It's neither here nor there. It's not heaven. It's not hell. And you're there as long as you have to be to pay off whatever you did in life. So you better hope the scales are swinging. That I never thought we're supposed to do anything in purgatory. So that's pretty cool that you have it where they have to. This is actually more important for the journey of the soul than your stupid throwaway 80, 90-year human life.
Right.
I see. That's so awesome. Don't you wish we could remember all of the iterations of our soul?
Yes. So in addition to Bubba and his demonic friends, we have Milton, as in Paradise Lost, who is the best. I mean, he drives a Prius, he recycles, he listens to NPR, he goes for runs. Like, his body is a temple. He eats bran flakes for breakfast, and he loves his cat, who he calls Precious. And his friends don't have the heart to tell him that there is a movie involving a serial killer and a dog whose name is Precious. So we have Milton, and then we have Olin, who is actually named after a famous fool, Roland the Farter, who worked for King Henry III. And you can guess what his specialty was. And King Henry only trotted him out for very special occasions. So we've got Olin, and he is the biggest, he's an idiot, but not an unlovable idiot. And he has a dog named King Henry, who he adores. And anyone who loves a dog as much as he does, you kind of got to think there's something good there.
That is pretty cool. I love it. I do. I could Elvis be there?
I mean, I think that would be fabulous if we could get some Elvis in there.
Right
I'm
now,
write that down.
Elvis is so hot right now. I am not
It's
even
funny.
I am not even making the Zoolander joke. I am, but I'm not. Okay, I am, but I'm not. He is so hot right now because of the movie. It's out on
Gotcha.
HBO.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with Dean Koontz, but he wrote a book called Odd Thomas. And I mean, people know who Dean Koontz is, but you know, there's like
Wait a
this
minute.
rift
He wrote
between
Odd
Stephen King.
Thomas?
Yes. So he can see dead people, and Elvis hangs out at his house crying an awful lot, which
Odd
is
Thomases?
mhm.
Oh no. Oh, that sucks, man.
So there's a whole series of books in that series, but honestly, the movie is really better than the book, and that doesn't happen very often.
Odd Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was because of that actor, and it's so sad he's
Oh.
gone.
I know.
Freaking hard.
I'm a Star Trek nerd, so yeah.
I did. Yeah. Yes, I'm sure he was squashed by his car with no help whatsoever. Russian mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure that's what happened.
But I'm always willing to take something, take some random weird suggestion and weave it into my story. So my husband suggested the other day that for hellhounds, they should be Shih Tzus. So Santana has a herd of Shih Tzus that are her hellhounds, and they're all named after different gems. And so Bubba's like, so they're stripper names, you know, like Ruby and Jade and Emerald and Pearl. So and Santana is obsessed with earthly pleasures, and she says it's just so that she can get to know humanity more. But she has like designer gowns and shoes and handbags and perfume, and he actually really pisses her off because he says, hey, did you raid Jessica Rabbit's wardrobe?
Well, I'm writing a paranormal romance where they make trips into hell because he's son of Lucifer, one of the sons of Lucifer. Lucifer has many sons. This is just the latest one to get to go up to Earth and give it a shot to see if he can enslave humanity. Give it a try. Adolf wasn't able to quite get there, and neither was young Napoleon over there. So neither one of those guys could get there. Sorry. But
Nice.
Anyway, but there's a club there. It's called the Velvet Elvis, and that's where Elvis really is.
That's so nice. I love it.
And he has to, and it's a portal. So his club is a portal. So if you know where to go on Earth, you can actually like just kind of slide yourself down into hell.
That's a cool idea.
Know where to go. So anyway, so yes, this is fun. I love doing this kind of stuff, and I see that you're having great fun. And how many episodes? You said 6 in Devil May Care.
Yes.
What's your average episode length?
I try to keep it between 12 and 15. Every once in a while, it has to be a little bit longer, and I can't argue with the muse. She tells me what to do. I just do it.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So do you have plans for any more Vellas?
I don't know at this time. I want to see where we go with Devil May Care and see if there might be a chance for a sequel or a book two. But I'm really not sure.
Yeah, okay.
I split my time between I work for Northern Colorado Writers, so I'm the creative programs coordinator for that, and I host Shut Up and Write in my local chapter. So between those things and the writing, I'm running.
You're
I'm
fully
busy a lot.
occupied. You're
Yeah.
fully occupied. But you know, you're
Yes.
going to end these serials. So I just didn't
Hmm.
know. I didn't know if maybe anything was on the horizon. Well, this is fantastic.
I'm sure there's something out there.
Oh, I know there will be. But
And
okay.
I had never really planned on doing horror comedy, but I have read a lot of like Christopher Moore, who is really hilarious.
He's one of
And
my favorite writers of all time. I
yes.
love how he I love how he does magic realism. It's just, you know it. You're right there with him.
Hmm.
I was
So
just
you can that's kind of the atmosphere that I think might, not that I'm comparing myself to Christopher Moore because he's a god.
he wouldn't
Um
mind. He's so cool. You got to connect with him on Facebook. He's
yeah.
great.
So
Um,
yeah,
oh my God. I was just thinking today of the mayor of San Francisco in Dirty Job. You remember?
I just finished rereading that.
I did. I'm rereading it too.
Oh, that's
Going
funny.
on, man. The surge is on us.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So hermano, yeah. Or hermano, yeah. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, I guess I have hellhounds now, so
that's so awesome. I guess I take it you have a Shih Tzu.
I do not.
Oh,
No,
okay. Oh,
no,
I
no.
just said I have hellhounds now, so I thought maybe that's what
Oh no, I was just quoting from Christopher Moore. Oh, well, I guess I have hellhounds. Um
I like how they rip off like the bumper, of the car or the hubcap and chew the hubcap. And remember
mhm,
how Bummer, the little dog, the bug-eyed pug dog, gets devil powers
mhm.
for a little while, and he's, and he can like eat the tire off of Buick. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Christopher is he's so warm, and so I can't wait to read your stuff.
Nice.
No, and he would see that as a tribute, not, you know.
And I'm sure that somewhere along the way, I will think of something else that's utterly ridiculous and hilarious and write that.
Well, I can't wait. This is awesome. I'm going to definitely follow you. I'm sure you are all over social media like everybody else.
Yes.
How you doing out on TikTok and Instagram?
TikTok. I'm older than the TikTok thing and I am reluctant. I've heard that it's a really good thing to do, but I mean, I have teenagers, so I'm sure I could ask them to begrudgingly show me some things. Um, but I'm much more active on Facebook and Instagram and a little bit on Twitter.
Great, great. Well, I will connect to you everywhere there, and we will also, of course, have links again in the description of this video. So the next question I want to ask you, this is also one that kind of puts people on the spot. I apologize for that, but I take it that you probably have been reading some Vellas too.
Hmm.
Mm. And do you read in your genre? Is that
It's interesting that I I typically had always stayed within my genre. And Kindle Vella has actually encouraged me to read outside of my comfort zone and
yeah,
outside of the things that I normally read.
me too, me too.
Um, which is neat because I've discovered some really interesting authors and some really great stories that I wouldn't normally have picked up because I'm like, oh, well, this looks interesting. I'll check that out. And I like the fact that if it turns out to not be your thing, you don't have to continue, going on through the series. And I'll always give somebody a 5-episode shot.
Yeah,
I'll read their first 3 and then
I
read
do
on a
that
couple
too.
more
I do that too.
and see how it's going.
Right. And because I think that's only fair. I'd give any book that far in,
Hmm.
you know. So, well, that's great. So let's hear about which ones you like. Are there any ones you'd like to shout out to link in your video description?
My good friend Penny Lee Sebring has a short story called Queen Bees, which is it's really hard to put that into a genre, but it's about very large bees, and the people who tend them are children because the bees do not attack them. So they live in a giant hive. And it's, I guess, I wouldn't even say magical realism. I really can't describe what it is, but it's great.
Because
It's a
they're
short
just
story.
bees, right?
Mhm.
That's cool. So they got to
Yeah.
snatch these kids. At some point, they got to snatch babies, right?
I can't say
Well, I
without
got to
giving it
say,
away.
okay, so Penny Lee Sebring with Queen Bees. That sounds
Huh?
great. Is it complete? Do you know?
Yes, it's a shorter version. So I think I want to say 13 episodes. So
Oh my, that sounds great. I'd like to try that myself. I like things that defy categorization.
yeah. And then there's
Not when
Sugar by
they're
Arla.
mine.
I'm sorry.
Not when they're mine.
Right. Right. And then there's Sugar by Arla Jones that I've been enjoying quite a bit. Five on the Vine by S.D. Hank, and that's Henke. She's a good friend of mine. And then, of course, from Kendra Griffin, A People's History of Magic. And
Oh,
she's
okay.
also a friend of mine, too.
Oh,
So some of these folks are through the Northern Colorado Writers Association, and some are, well, I guess all of these folks are, but I'm also part of the Horror Writers Association. So there's a few people, there's a few of us on there too.
I would imagine. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So let me just go back through this awesome list because I don't recognize, except for Kendra's, I don't recognize any of these.
Gotcha.
So Penny Lee Sebring with Queen Bees, and then we've got Sugar by Arla Jones.
Yes.
And it's like it sounds, ARL.
Arla Jones.
And then I got the last name Hank, Hanke. What was the first name?
It's Henke, and it's SD. Hank is her writer's name. I won't, for her protection, divulge her real name, but she's a really good friend of mine.
No, no need to do that. Five on the Vine.
Uh-huh.
That's what I have for her. And then of course Kendra is the People's History of Magic.
Yep.
Wonderful. Well, that's a nice list. Well, since you've done quite a bit of reading in Vella, we can see, and you've definitely done some fun writing. What if tomorrow you were boinked on the head by the fairy godmother of all things Vella and you became CEO of Vella tomorrow? What, if anything, would you do to improve this platform for the
First thing I would do is allow writers to find some way to do giveaways, like, you know, free tokens, which they can use to read any Vella, not just your own.
Right.
Just some way to thank our readers for their attention and for reading our stuff. I think that would be really great. It would also be really wonderful if authors could review, post Google or post Amazon reviews on books, because they will like lift your privileges. We really aren't supposed to be reviewing on the Amazon site. So we have to be really careful about that because we're considered biased. And they also don't want friends. Like if I had a friend in Iowa who's not a writer at all, but they found out that we have a lot of social connections, that could be considered a biased review, and they can remove it. And then eventually they can remove your freedom to review. So I encourage people that are writers, if they really like what they've read, is to post it to someone's Facebook page, send them an email, and do that so the writer themselves can say, hey, this is what people say about my work, without getting anyone in trouble. So that's difficult. I would also find a way for Amazon to help writers with their publicity. Because it's really hard. It's still a pretty, like half the people I talk to still don't know what Kindle Vella is. So a better way to promote the platform itself would be great. That would be very nice. And part of me wants to know what the magical algorithm is. And the other part of me thinks maybe it's better that we don't. But there are a lot of mysterious unanswered questions that are unanswerable on Kindle Vella. So that's interesting. I found
So
out that's my catchphrase.
you would want
That's
more
interesting.
transparency.
I don't know. Like a part of me does want that, and a part of me wonders if there isn't a very good reason for that. I don't know.
Well, we're not going to know because that's
Right.
their proprietary IP.
That's right.
Not only that, I'll tell you what, you start grinding down there and trying to find the evidence for what exactly makes it up. And you're not going to really be able to describe it because AI takes it over at some point.
Mhm.
And the tweaks are subtle because it can keep it.
No, I haven't had any difficulty uploading my episodes. I've heard from many people that they've had nightmarish stories when there is a problem getting it resolved. I have not experienced that, and I consider myself very lucky that I haven't experienced it. One way that I avoid that is by not scheduling my episodes, because I think that that's sometimes where things go haywire is in the scheduling part. So sometimes an episode is released before the other one, and then the order gets confused. So I just manually release them now when I'm ready.
Yeah, that's what I do. I've always,
Yeah.
well, I co-write. We had to, yeah, I mean, we had to take off for something medical. So my co-writer and I, and we did upload for a short time the episodes and allow them to be auto uploaded. But that was just a short time when we needed it. Otherwise I just push the button and publish now.
Yeah, and the only hang up that I had, it was when I created my Amazon Author Central page. They had somehow two of me, and one of me was responsible for writing two of my Vellas, and another one of me was responsible for Devil May Care. So I was like two authors, and I sent them a message and they didn't reply back, but somehow
It got merged.
it's merged. So yay.
Yeah.
Yay me.
Yeah. They just took it to tech.
Yeah.
And they don't need to talk to you.
I guess not. I guess not.
Yeah, that's what I used to do in my old life, pre-COVID life. So, yeah.
And we all have that pre-COVID life.
Yes, and I, for one, am very happy where I am right now. Wouldn't have been here for another 5 years if it hadn't been for the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually had I ripped my hip when I was doing some trail running in 2019. So I was on crutches for 5 months before I could even get to have my surgery. And so I was out for a long time. And then as soon as I was released to go back to work, hey, it's COVID time. So I did not work for all of COVID either. And so I got a heck of a lot of writing done. And then I went back for a really short period of time and said, you know what? I think I'm done with social services. I think I don't want to do that anymore. And since then, I've had 3 more surgeries. So I've had a lot of time to write.
Oh, goodness gracious. Are they? Well, that's, oh my goodness. I hope that slows down. Nobody likes those.
I think all of my parts have either been removed or repaired now. So
yeah, that's good. You're stable.
Yeah.
You're stabilized. Like an old car. Oh,
yeah.
well, okay. So those are all good suggestions. I like that. I think like the giveaway. Yeah, they should allow it. However, to play devil's advocate, simply because of simply because I see it, I understand. They can't, because someone will find a way to abuse it.
Yeah, I guess people who have Kindle self-published books are able to do book giveaways. So it'd be cool if they could figure out how to let us do that, or even just to gift our readers or friend. Like, here's 50 tokens because I like you. Go read some stuff. You know, the best you can do is an Amazon gift card and hope they actually use it to buy tokens. So
they might do that once the bonuses are gone. They might allow it once the bonuses are a thing of the past. So who knows? Who knows? I don't know, but it sounds good. I like all of your suggestions. And that's it. I mean, this is just the simplest interview you would ever want to have. And we're at the end of it now.
All right. Well, this has been really fun. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, I'm so happy to have you. I love your energy. I love the sound of these things, and we share this great love of Christopher Moore. I could talk about him all day. What is your favorite Christopher Moore book, my dear?
Other than Dirty Jobs, You Suck, which is a vampire story about vampires vampiring terribly.
Have you read Practical Demon Keeping?
I have not yet.
Oh my God.
Okay, I'm writing it down.
Practical Demon Keeping. You must. And like all of his others, it's short. You'll read through it. You'll be carrying it everywhere you go. You'll blaze through this one, and it's unbelievably cool. And the demon Catch is his name. Yes. He can also be seen in Did You Happen to Read Lamb?
Yes.
Yeah,
that one's great.
That is a masterpiece. And Catch is in Lamb. He is the demon lamb that rolls through stone walls and makes tunnels.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's in Practical Demon Keeping.
Nice.
So anyway, now that we've done a little fangirling on Christopher Moore, and I just can't believe how much fun this has been, Heather. Should have had you on 4 months ago, but I'm glad that we got you, and through the connection with Kendra, I think, right? She did the interview, and so you're like, okay, well, doesn't seem too bad. I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's great.
Yeah. And last thing, what would you like to say to folks who are trying your stories for the first time, clicking your links in the description of this video, which we know they're going to do?
I hope that you laugh as hard as I did while I was writing it, because maybe your own writing shouldn't crack you up, but it totally does. And I hope you enjoy reading it as much as I enjoyed writing it. And I hope you stick around for more. And if you have a suggestion, don't hesitate to let me know, because I do consider them all.
I'm going to be looking for Elvis.
I've got it written down. It is right here.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking time with me today, Heather. So to all of you people out there in Vella land, I say bye-bye and come back often, and there'll be new stuff all the time. So I'll let you say bye, Heather. I won't run over you.
Yeah.
All right. Love it. Bye, guys.